Hi everyone, I'm Jacki Krahmalov, and I teach several advertising units which form the advertising major in the Bachelor of Communications. So I love technology. I'm not an expert though, but I do like to give things a go. So I'm going to share a few approaches that I've taken in some of the different units, which has worked and which haven't, and also show you one that's still work in progress. Okay, so the first approach was something I tried in my first year unit, Advertising and Introduction. And it's quite difficult to teach the concept of insight, the importance of insight, because when these students come to learn advertising, they have in their minds, I find, that advertising is quite easy. It's all about jingles and puns and cliches. But it's not. It's a lot of hard work, and you have to start with a solid foundation of research. And part of that research is really deeply understanding your target consumers, what drives them, their hopes and their dreams and their motivations, so that you're able to more, I guess, emotionally connect with them in the campaigns. In the lecture prior to this tute, I show them a Huggies ad, Huggies nappies. And I point out that in this ad, they never mention the fit of the nappy or the dryness or the price. It's all about love. And the visuals are showing love. And the soundtrack is It Must Be Love. So what they're doing in this ad is they're trying to bond with the consumers. They're trying to send this message that, you know, if you don't buy Huggies nappies, perhaps you're not being as good a parent as you could be. You're not loving your child enough, okay? So you're kind of pushing the parents' buttons. Anyway, so we get to the tute, and I've bought bags of Chupa Chups, told them to bring their iPads. And what we do is I break them into groups of 4. And one of them plays the role of the target consumer. They're the one given the Chupa Chup, and they're also given a bit of a mini script. 2 of them are the interrogators, so they're going to ask the deep questions. You know, why do you feel that way? How is this? You know, these sorts of questions to get to the insight. And one is recording it using their iPad. So the objective is to find out why consumers really love Chupa Chups. So we want to get beyond because I like it or because it tastes good, which is where they always start. So we want to get to something a little deeper, like it reminds me of a happy childhood, something like that. So we hold these little focus groups and they really get into it. I ask the students also to observe how that target consumer is unwrapping the Chupa Chup, how they're licking the Chupa Chup, the body language, the facial expressions. They record it, they come to an insight, and then they share it with the rest of the class. And you can hear them, you know, responding to these insights. Oh, yeah, that's how I feel about it. And you can see the groups that haven't really got into it, which aren't that many because they're all quite enthusiastic and got a bit of sugar. You can hear them, you know, really sort of understanding now this concept of insight and kind of getting why it's important. And when you're spending a couple of $1 million on a campaign, you really want to connect emotionally with your target consumers. Okay, and that's what I try and teach them in this tute. So pros and cons, they're very enthusiastic about it. I don't know that they're given Chupa Chups in many other classes, but they seem to enjoy that, and it does stimulate discussion, so it works quite well. So that's the first thing I've done. Secondly, some of the content I teach in these units can be a little dry. The Spam Act of 2003 would fall into that category. So I've developed this activity where they're using Nearpod, the app Nearpod. I'm sure some of you are familiar with Nearpod. So I teach the lecture, come into the tutes, we recap the essential concepts or facts that they need to know, and they each log into Nearpad. I've got it set up so I've got Nearpod on my iPhone, I've got Nearpod on my iPad, One is as a student, one's as the teacher, so I can see what they see and also control the activity with my iPad. I put the questions up on the screen and they answer it in real time. So they can see who's responding which way. And I have found that it also stimulates discussion, you know. It's something they get very enthusiastic about, and it makes some of this dry material much more interesting and fun. The only con is there's always someone who can't connect or can't put the code in, but you know, they can look on. So there's always ways to overcome that. Next approach, now this was previously a handwritten assessment for my first years, so first time in class often. And they filled in answers, or they answered questions about themselves and about things that they thought about advertising in general. But I wanted to change this to make it a little bit more exciting and bring it online. So I asked them to film themselves using an iPad. There was a set of questions, and they had to express an opinion about an ad that they felt was very strong or very effective. And they had to do it in 15 seconds, which is the average time of an online ad or a short TV commercial, 15 seconds. So this assessment was worth 5%. I did give them a lot of instructions in the learning guide, very explicit. The pros for this approach, it did encourage them to use their iPad and express an opinion. And because they uploaded it to their Tute blog, the group blog, they could watch others' TVCs, if you like, or their little opinion pieces. So for those who were a little reluctant to step in or jump in and do it first, they could watch the others do it and then do their own. Because I do get, in this unit, I do get people choosing it as an elective, and I get students from other disciplines as well. So some are more experienced and more confident, they go in first, and the new students can follow. Cons, as you can see there, some were unable to follow instructions, but there was a lot of help on the discussion boards, so some of the more tech-oriented students helped out. And the 15-second videos were only about 1.5, 2 megs each, so wasn't too heavy on the system. I'll just show you one of those. Hopefully it'll play. Oh, no. Here we go.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Charles, and my favourite ad is the Yo-Go ad Close Encounters. It's my favourite ad because it references popular culture and in a really funny way, and therefore draws in the attention of both the adults buying it and the children consuming it.
She's gorgeous. She's first year, or she was. I think she couldn't wait to finish it. But, you know, they start off expressing the opinion, and as I said, others can see what they've done. It gives them a bit of confidence there. Okay, another assessment that I moved online were class tests. So I converted these to online quizzes. Challenge that we all face is lecture attendance, particularly when there's no exams, and also not reading the texts. So you can follow that. So what I did was I set up these quizzes in views worth 20%. The answers could only be found in the readings and the lectures. So it was a gentle encouragement to, if they wanted those marks, to come to the lectures or watch them online and do the readings, and it was very effective. So I've done that in 2 of my units, and I'm going to introduce it into a 3rd. So it was quite successful. The only con I found early on was the sharing of answers, particularly on Facebook. One student even told me that that's what they did. And anyway, so to get around that, I learnt that, you know, if you don't number the questions, then they can't easily share with their friends. And obviously, if you write more questions than required, Views serves it up in a random manner, so you know, it makes it a little more difficult. Okay, so trying to stay one step ahead. I'm sure they'll find a way. Anyway, so that was the online quizzes. Okay, next one. This is an ongoing challenge for me. All my units, all the advertising units in fact, involve teamwork. And a lot of the students I know collaborate on Facebook, but what I wanted to do was to teach them a better way of collaboration that is more like what we do in the industry. I've come from industry, and Facebook is certainly not used in industry to collaborate. So I know they find it easy, but I wanted to teach them a better way to collaborate, and I wanted to make it accessible. I wanted to minimise the inevitable group implosions and give them some sort of facility to highlight who was perhaps less than enthusiastic in their team project and who was more so. So I thought, okay, I'll keep it on views. I'll set up group blogs. Assessment's worth 10%. It's an individual mark. And I said to them, I'll be checking in every week or two to see what how your progress is going. The collaboration process was explained at the tutes by all the tutors and myself. We showed them how to use the blog. We suggested collaboration tools that they could use. And I set up an example blog, so it was quite clear. However, it wasn't a resounding success, I have to say. Here's a screenshot of part of a blog. This doesn't mimic what we do in industry either, so it's less than inspiring, I have to say. So I put together a set of questions in SurveyMonkey. I sent it out to them and I said, please, I need your help. This is the first time we've tried this approach. Really value your opinion. What did you think? On the upside, they liked the fact that it showed the real evidence, the proof of who was contributing and who wasn't. So these are projects where they'll have to take a business and develop an advertising program for them. So they'll have to do research, strategy, creative, come up with some media ideas, produce the ads. So it's a team project that's as extensive as that. So it's quite easy in a team of 4 for someone to, coast along. So they liked the fact that it showed proof of who was doing what, that they could upload all kinds of files, from JPEGs to movies to, well, whatever, PDFs, Word docs. Unlike Facebook, where you can't upload all those things. A few of them did say it was great that it was away from social media because it was easy to just go, oh, let me just check what else someone else is doing, or let me just post here, or, that sort of thing. And that they felt it was more professional than Facebook. And all the ideas were in the one spot. On the downside, though, 2 key things came out. No notifications. So how do we know if someone's posted? I'll have to remember to check in. Yeah, okay. So there's no instant notification as there is on Facebook to tell you that someone's done something or posted something or something we should look at or something we should discuss or we should meet now. And that it was a very clunky, cumbersome interface, not user-friendly. So a lot of comments like that. And there was this comment that it seemed more intimidating than Facebook. And even though I know that the Blackboard app can be on your iPad, this person didn't seem to think so. So I'm going to abandon the group blog on views, and I'm looking at some other apps and sites. I've found one that might work, that mimic how we do it in the industry. But it must, of course, meet all these requirements. It has to be free for the students to use it. Real-time notifications, upload different files, must include milestones. Some of them said we need that. Okay, I understand that. Even though you can give them a schedule at the start, but you must set up things along the way that you're checking in. And it must work on the iPad. Finally, what I've done is I created a video recently to encourage retention of first years in the advertising major. So when they do the Bachelor of Communications, They do in first year PR, advertising, journalism, media arts production. So, and then they choose which to major in. So I wanted to keep as many as I could in the advertising stream. And I wanted to give them evidence that, yes, there are real job opportunities. Students who were sitting where you're sitting now, they're in these fantastic jobs. You can do it too. So I compiled some testimonials, interviews on my iPad, and a shout out to Tom, thank you for your courses. There were two courses that I did, the basic video shooting principles and production using your iPad and the basic video editing, and they were fabulous, really, really good. So that taught me a lot. Now I know I don't have time to show you the whole thing, so I'm just going to jump through it a little bit, if I can. Oh, it's not liking that, is it? Oh dear. I've set up the folders too, as it was suggested in the course. Fabulous. There we go.
Studying advertising at UWS can lead to an amazing career. You could be writing and designing ads, developing social media communities, buying TV spots, planning digital campaigns. There are lots of opportunities, and the industry is growing. We can help you, as we've helped many students before, kickstart an amazing career.
I chose UWS because it's closest to home and I got an offer there, so I was very pleased. And I was interested in the communications course that they provided. And then when I was choosing my subject, I was interested and glad I got here.
So we've got...
I do a lot of things as well. I've been ever so good grandfather of the NRL.
Oh no, yeah. That's not my editing. Anyway, so you can see I've got interviews here with this guy was only 5 years out of uni and now he's the Director of Strategy at one of the biggest agencies in Sydney.
That is one of the most exciting options to us.
This one, I'm a student that's successful with the...
And there's a couple of interviews from industry figures and endorsements that...
Also have digital scope approximating the technologies used with our agents.
Okay, all right. And then at the end it's, you know, would you recommend UWS? Absolutely. So this is Director of the Media Federation of Australia. It really does work. So, yeah, there we go. That's it. So, yeah, so thank you to those courses I was able to put this together. I'm showing it at the end of my first year unit next week in the last week. So that's it. Thanks, guys.